Okay, today is the 14th of June in the year 2007, and by my watch it's 3:33 p.m. in the afternoon. And George, I'm just going to take an opportunity to introduce everybody who's in the room here today. My name is Detective Sergeant Gary Giroux. My last name is spelled G-I-R-O-U-X. I'm with the Toronto Police Service Homicide Squad, and I'm present with my partner, and he'll introduce himself.
My name is Detective Mike Carboni. My badge number is 6967. I'm also a member of the Toronto Police Homicide Squad.
And George, could you say your first name and spell your last name for us?
George Dranichak, D-R-A-N-I-C-H-A-K.
Great. And as I indicated to you before the tape was turned on, there's a Commissioner of Oaths who's just at a camera view. And ma'am, could you say your name and employee number?
Mary Aldrich, badge number 88346.
Great, thank you. And just before we get started, George, I'm going to ask each of us to acknowledge that we understand that this statement is going to be videotaped and audio taped, and we all consent to that tape being made. And I indicate I consent. Do you consent?
I consent.
Yes, I consent.
Great. Thank you. And this statement will be taken under oath, solemn affirmation, or solemn declaration, and it will be videotaped. And you must understand that it is a criminal offense under Section 139 and 140 of the Criminal Code to obstruct justice or commit public mischief by making a false statement to the police during an investigation. You must further understand that you may be a witness at a trial concerning the events you describe in this statement, and if at that time you recant your statement or claim it to be false, it can and will be used at that trial, and you may be liable for prosecution under Section 137 of the Criminal Code for fabricating evidence. Finally, you must understand that you're not obliged to give this statement, and if any person has by words or acts attempted to persuade you to provide it, you are to disregard those words or acts and only give this statement if you freely choose to do so. George, do you understand your right to choose whether or not to make a statement?
Yes.
And do you understand that there are in fact criminal consequences for making a false statement?
Yes.
And do you understand the fact that this statement will be videotaped and under oath?
Yes.
And do you choose to give a statement?
Yes.
Okay, I'll ask the Commissioner to administer that oath. Do you want me to get out of your way? Okay.
Thank you very much. George, you can say.
Oh, I consent.
My name is Mary Aldrich. I'm a Commissioner of Oath for the Toronto Police Service. As the police have explained to you, your statement to them is an important part of their investigation. You should understand that it is a serious criminal offense to make a false statement to the police, to wrongly accuse someone of a crime, or to cause the police to enter into an investigation of another person knowing the information is false. If you later give sworn evidence that is different from what you swear to today, that could be another offense. You understand this, Clutch?
Yes.
Okay, George, do you really want to swear? Thank you. Do you, George Dranichak, swear that the evidence that you should give on this investigation shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, George, just by way of background and for the purpose of the tape recording, this division started the investigation when your friend Ross Hammond was alive, and as a result of his death, the Homicide Squad's mandate is to take over the investigation from the division and continue it. Okay, so we haven't had an opportunity to meet, so I indicated to you on the way up on the stairs here that we just had some clarifying questions with regards to that particular evening, and that's why we asked you here today. So I understand from watching your videotape with regards to the narrative of the night, you know, they're going to Gretzky's and the Second City and so forth, and what kind of led you right up to the incident. So I'm going to draw you through that, and I'm going to ask you to start right from the point when you're approached by these individuals on the street.
Okay.
Right at that point, kind of move you fast
Okay.
forward. And who was it, male or female, that approached you first?
Female.
Okay, why don't we start with her? And Mike's going to take some notes. Why don't you, as best you can, describe to us what she looked like?
She was young. Anywhere from like 17 to 24. You know, more on the. She was more on the younger side. She had like sandy blonde hair. It was like a loose ponytail, I think. It was a loose ponytail. Like one hair tie. She was on a bike.
Is she a white girl, black girl?
She was white.
Okay.
She was white, but she could have been I don't know, like ethnic of some way, like Portuguese maybe. Like her skin was kind of olive a little bit, you know. Like I'm American, so I'm not really good with identifying, you know, classes of Canadians and foreign people and stuff like that. But you know, she just had to me, she had like a foreign look about her a little bit, you know.
Okay. And the hair, if it was allowed to fall down, how far down her body would it go? Can you estimate?
Well, it's kind of hard to say because I think the ponytail was a little bit higher in the back of her head, so it would kind of lift the hair.
Yep.
But like, so it was probably here to like up.
Yep.
Fell like a little bit around here, so down would probably be a little bit longer. It was really thick, you know. You know, it was kind of like wavy, or you know, it had some kind of fullness to it. You know, chunks were kind of popping out a little bit. You know, it was kind of like a loose ponytail. But I mean, if I had to guess, I would say, you know, past her shoulders down here.
Okay.
So somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And can you give me an idea how tall she was compared to you?
I think I mean, she was kind of on a bike, and she was much smaller than me. I'm 5'10", and she was, you know, anywhere from, I'm going to say 5'2" to 5'5".
Okay. And can you estimate her weight?
I'm going to say 100 to 115.
100 to 150?
Yeah, 100 to maybe 115, 120 at the most, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. And with regards to this individual, just before we move on, can you describe to us what she's wearing?
That to me is part of, you know, part of the thing that was like really fuzzy, because there was another girl, and I don't want to, like, I have this fear in my mind that I'm mashing what they were both wearing together in their eyes, and the jewelry, like,
right.
You know, like,
yeah.
I think it was like, what I said before was it was like a button down, or no, it was like maybe a 2 or 3 button thing.
Okay.
I don't remember the color. I mean, I think it was more of a darker one, and the girl with the dark hair had a lighter shirt.
Okay. Can you describe the bike? It's a 10-speed or?
Yeah, it was kind of like 10-speed mountain bike. I remember it being white. That I remember. I don't know the name of it, but for some reason I think OTH, like Othena or Othella or Othenia or something, like some kind of those letters just really stick in my mind for some reason.
Okay. Now I watched your interview, and you would agree with me that there's a heated exchange between you and her and them. Would you agree with that? Or?
Well, yeah. I would say that. Like,
how did it start then?
Well, they came up to ask for money. The girl kind of came up and was asking for money, and it seemed like immediately when, you know, we thought it was ridiculous. Me and Ross looked at each other like, do you believe this? You know, this girl's like, you know, not homeless, not like whatever. She's on, like, the bike was like $300 to $500 bike. I mean, it was a nice new bike, and she wasn't like dirty at all or whatever. It was just, we thought it was absurd that they were asking for, or she was asking for money. So immediately when we started kind of talking another guy kind of came into play, and that guy was even more ridiculously not homeless. I mean, he was like wearing chains, and he had the expensive sneakers and like the hat on sideways, and like he looked like this hip hop white gangster type thing, and as I was kind of talking to the girl, Ross was talking kind of that guy, and it was almost like we had two little separate conversations going at the thing. But as this was going on, we're walking away. Like it was. I mean, today going to Burger King, I saw three bums. You know what I mean? You just keep walking. You just ignore them. Well, it got heated because she insulted. She's like, she had a real nasty mouth. She was just like, she was really angry at the world, really pissed off. I basically called her a whore. Ross said, go, why don't you go suck dick or whatever. It was kind of that, but it wasn't. It wasn't like screaming. It was kind of like we were talking at this tone, and it got a little bit louder, and we didn't know. It just seemed like kind of more people were kind of coming in, and I don't know if it was just the area or because there was a lot of people on the street, and we didn't really know how many people were in there. Whatever, we were just kind of whatever. Like I was actually bored with the whole thing. We were just moving on, and that's how I got separated from Ross, because I was walking on and he was kind of still talking to the guy, you don't want what I got, I don't want to hurt you kids or whatever. It was like that. And
From Ross.
yeah, that's how, like, he was having a separate conversation with him. I'm talking to the girls. The girls were driving me nuts because it was like, I mean, I'm never gonna hit a girl. I've never hit a girl in my life. Like, even when they were kicking me or whatever, I think I was just kind of pushing them off. I mean, I could have knocked all her teeth out if I got a clear shot, but it wasn't like that. It was just like a bunch of kids. Just a bunch of whatever, like wannabe gangsters or whatever, and so I mean, when it started getting heated, we crossed. Like when it got to the point where, like, okay, enough's enough. There could be a fight here. There could be, like, I'm on a work permit up here. I always have that in the back of my head. I don't want to ever leave. If I get arrested for something like this, I might not be able to work here. And that's a huge fear. I have a house here. I have a pregnant wife. I have, so I'm not out looking for trouble. Up until like a year ago, I was like the fat guy. I was 300 pounds. I just lost 100 pounds. I'm not like this crazy, loose cannon guy looking for fights and stuff. Like, we were walking away. I said to Ross, there was one guy. There was one guy that was kind of like Middle Easternish that came into it. So there was like there's two girls, the Middle Eastern guy, and then the other guy. There's like four. He came up to me, and all I did was go like this, kind of like, get back, like that, and kind of like, juking him or psyching him out or whatever, right? And he ran away like a little girl. I mean, he didn't want anything to do with it. So at that point, we thought the whole thing was done, okay? And we're crossing the street. We're going to the south side of Queen Street from the north side. And I was walking probably a little bit quicker. I was definitely walking quicker than Ross. Ross was walking kind of backwards, talking to the guys. I didn't see, I think he might have even been talking to another guy. That I didn't see. And I think there was like, maybe 30 to 40 feet between us. I was walking kind of fast. I was like, let's get out of here, Russ. I was bored. I was annoyed of the whole situation. I was hungry. Like, it was just it was done. Like, the whole thing was, in my opinion, was just done. It was just a bunch of war words. Yeah, we were there was smack talk, but I mean, we were getting more of it from all of them. Like, there was more of them, right? I never once felt threatened, even when everything kind of calmed down and I'm walking west. Ross is kind of walking backwards very slowly, like step by step. That's how we got the distance. Then all of a sudden, they must have gotten some more of their friends. And at that point, when they were coming at me and going to Ross, I didn't think they were going to jump me. I thought it was just going to be more, WWF, smack talk, this and that. I didn't think it was to the point where fists were going to be thrown, or especially knives. Like not in a million years did I fathom that it was to that point. One of the girls on the bike kind of went into me when my knee, like I hit it on the side. When that happened, everything went black. I mean, I was in so much pain. It was like I was done. And the one guy that punched me in the gut, like I have a surgical lap band, like I had a weight loss surgery thing.
Right.
I have a rubber band on my stomach. And when I got punched in the stomach and in the knee, I was done. I thought my stomach exploded and I was in kind of like survival mode. And
Is it the same girl on the bike that came up to you originally?
yeah, it was her. And then there was another girl with black hair. It was she had darker hair. That was her friend. Like I'm see that's they were both on bikes. I'm a little bit unclear on. I'm like 75-80% sure it was a blonde-headed girl that kind of went into me, or like her bike came at me and like it just threw my knee out, or the tire hit me, or her momentum
Right.
kind of made me throw out my knee.
So when you said they sort of coming after you,
Yeah.
after you sort of broke off with them, how many are there?
Well, I'm gonna say there was like around 3. There was the 2 girls and then the 1 guy, but then there was the Middle Eastern guy who was kind of sticking around, and I'm pretty sure when I was down he kicked me. I'm pretty sure because like he was like the wimp of the thing. But there was another guy that Ross was talking to the whole time that I didn't see. Ross kind of had his own thing going with this guy, and when I looked back to go, Ross, come on. Ross was kind of blocking my view of that guy. And then there was but there were so many other people around the street. Like when those people were coming at me, I didn't know. Their group kind of materialized out of nowhere. They were either on the side of the TD Visa, or they were just kind of hanging around, or maybe there's just a bunch of kids and they just wanted to get into a fight and just kind of be part of the mob scene. Like, I don't know. Like, I know that there was a minimum of 1 or 2 guys on Ross.
Okay. After you made that gesture to the Middle Eastern guy, ever see him again?
When I was, yeah, like I think he kind of stood there as I was getting my ass kicked, and I'm pretty sure when I got up and I was just trying to get away, I kind of pushed him into the building and I went off. Like I was just trying, like I was in kind of like a fetal position, or like just crouched down. The blonde-headed guy was trying to gouge my eyes out. Like, I mean, he went like this as hard as he could, and I did everything I could just to keep his fingers from going into my eyes. I kept going down,
Right.
And he got some of my eyes, and I was just kind of twisting and turning and just pushing people off. And but I'm pretty sure that Middle Eastern guy, he got a punch in, or as I was going away, I got punched, or he was holding my shirt or something. Like, he was more of a spectator, but I know that he got a kick in or a punch or whatever, because I saw him. Like, he was a part of it. And I think that since like he was kind of like the chicken of the group, but when I was kind of like immobilized or whatever, he got in a shot or 2. I mean, am I hurt? No. I mean, I have some knee pain or whatever. But at the time I was in a lot of pain. But when I got up, I mean, I'm 205 pounds. These kids were very light. You know, there's also 2 girls. You know what I mean? Like it's when I got up and I kind of broke away, it was kind of easy, and I thought it was done. Like I thought the whole thing was done. It was like, okay, you know, they could have actively pursued me more, but they kind of didn't. And I don't know if that's just the way of me just getting away, but I mean, if they really wanted just like to keep pounding me and hold me down, they probably could have. Because I didn't really fight back that much. I mean, I might have punched one guy in the gut, but I know I didn't get any headshots in. I know, you know, I might have just elbowed someone, like I got just a couple bruises. I pushed the one guy into the building, but I was more of in like a defensive mode, like get the hell out before the cops come, get the hell out before there's a scene. Right when I got up, I looked east to where I thought Ross was. I saw a guy kind of running away. I thought it was him. Like I didn't really see, like there was nothing going on. And I go, Ross, meet me at the office, Ross. And I mean, I screamed. There had to have been people that heard me screaming. I mean, it completely echoed. It was as loud as I could scream. You know, meet me at the office, meet me at the office. And I thought he had either ran away to avoid the fight, or like they were chasing him or whatever. Like, not in a million years did I think he was on the other side of me, because there was probably 30 feet distance between us. But from what I've heard and everything else, he was already over here when I got up and I got in the taxi.
Okay.
So he might have went to my defense. And you know, but I don't see him running into more people. You know, if there's like 2 or 3 people on him, I don't see him running into more people here. Like, to me, that, I mean, the night didn't make sense. Like, if I would have gotten a taxi on the other side, I would have seen him and I would open the taxi. Like, none of this would happen. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm just going off.
No, it's all right. Which when you broke free, is that when you grabbed the cab?
The cab?
Yeah, your cab.
Yeah, I screamed to Ross. I looked down there. I kind of went. The first 2 taxis were like locked, or they had people in them, and it was the third. There's 3 taxis in a row, and I just opened the door. I jumped in, and they kind of weren't. You know, you'd think that they'd be like zombies or something, clawing at the glass or something, but they didn't. You know, like, I thought it was done. Like, I was like, wow, I'm free. I'm in a taxi. I said to the taxi, I go. I go, King and Dufferin, go. I'll give you a big tip. And he was like, what's going on? And I'm like, I mean, I got kicked in the head, so my head was just throbbing. I kicked it back. I had like 4 times. And he was like, what's going on? What's going on? He was kind of worried. I knew, you know, like, they don't want to be a part of any, you know, shenanigans or whatever on the street. Like, you know, it seemed like he was going to say, get out. I go, I'll give you a big tip. And I ended up it was like $5, and I gave him like a 20. I said, keep the change, because I felt like he kind of saved my ass a little bit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
So you went which direction? Eastbound, westbound?
I went east, then I made a right, and then a right. I don't remember if it was on Bathurst. I think it was on Bathurst, because I was hoping to see Ross kind of running or whatever, you know, because I 1,000,000% in my mind, he was east of me. You know, we were at the Holy Joe's, or the Reverb, you know, that purple place. Yep. We were there right before that. His buddy's band was playing. It was the biggest fluke. It was like, we didn't know. You know, we were walking by. Hey, let's go here. I used to go there, and his buddy's band was there. So, you know, but I didn't think I thought he heard me screaming, "Meet me at the office. Meet me at," because we were going home anyway.
Right.
But when I was at the office, he wasn't there. I slept in my car. I went up to the office because he has keys and he could sleep on my couch, or, you know, like we have like a futon, you know, upstairs in our office. Then when he wasn't there, then I assumed he went back to the bar. I didn't have a cell phone either, so it was like, oh, he went to the bar. Oh, you know, he's gonna yell at me. It's like, why didn't you just meet me back at the bar? Like we people get split up a lot, you know.
Sure.
And so I was like, oh, he's with his buddy's band. They got it because he stayed with them before, like when they got a room, you know, like when they played in town, he still stayed with them, hung out with them, and then, you know, stayed with them. So,
what did this guy that was talking to Ross look like?
Well, This is another thing that, I mean, it happened really, really fast, and I don't know if there was I know that there's a one guy that kind of had the scruffiest beard. That was the guy that was gouging my eyes, okay? Now, for some reason, I keep thinking that there's some blonde-haired guy. So there was like a blonder-haired guy and the guy with the scruffiest beard that had blonde hair. But I'm worried that I'm kind of mashing those people together. I'm creating two people when it was the same guy.
Okay.
And that's what I know the guy gashing my eyes. From the best of my memory, the scruffy-haired, blonde-haired guy was the first guy that Ross talked to. Ross talked to him initially. I talked to the girls or whatever. The girl came up to me, whatever, laughing at her or whatever. It wasn't really even a big deal. The guy was there and he was kind of all, yo, 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 or whatever. And Ross was dealing with him the whole time. I really didn't have any interaction with that guy until he was trying to gouge my eyes out. All right? But when we were crossing the street, there might have been another guy that Ross was talking to. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the Pakistani guy or the Middle Eastern guy or whatever. There could have been like another guy, but because I was kind of dealing with the girls. Like the girls, they were insanely annoying, and they just would not get away. They just wouldn't let it go. It was just unbelievable. They just wouldn't let up. They wouldn't let up. And they're knowing I'm not going to hit a girl. They're knowing I'm not going to do anything. And they just wouldn't let it go. It was like, oh, why don't you give us some money? They were really aggressive. And while that was happening, Ross was kind of talking to the scruffy guy or whatever. But there might have been another guy there. It was kind of it was two separate things going on, Okay. And I think after I left, obviously, I mean, from what I've heard, I didn't see any of it. From what I'm hearing, the girls got involved in the fight with Ross, and Ross caught one of them or something. I still don't know what happened.
Where are you hearing that from?
Well, I just from articles and just from stuff on the news or whatever, But the news is getting everything wrong with him being a tourist, and
you're right, they're getting it all wrong.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, and this is part of the reason we came to speak to you, because we've had an opportunity to talk to a lot of the witnesses down there.
Yeah.
People looking out of their windows, like I said. Were you present when Ross hit any one of these people, male or female?
No. You know what? I've known Ross 5 years, almost to the day. I've heard a lot of stories about him getting in a lot of fights when he was a kid and stuff in St. Catharines. But me and him have been, because we work in Parkdale, so there's a lot of just crap going on. We've been in worse circumstances, and we've never fought. I've never seen him throw a punch. Even that night, I didn't see him throw a punch. He didn't want to fight, but I'm not going to say that he's an angel. There was a lot of verbal altercations. We were swearing at him, calling him whores. I'll admit that. I feel responsible for a lot of this. Believe me, this is the only thing that I'm playing through my head since it happened. And Ross was, he didn't want to fight him, but he was also warning him. And that could be interpreted as a taunt, but I didn't see him throw a punch.
Okay.
I didn't see him throw a punch. I didn't see anyone throw a punch at him, because I was getting I think they got a bunch of guys and then they just ransacked us. And even when they were coming at me, I thought it was just going to be another, yo motherfucker. I didn't think we were going to get attacked. It wasn't at that level. It was not at that level at that point, and that's all I saw, and that's all I know, I'm still in disbelief over, I'm still in disbelief over this whole thing. Like all I have is like speculation on, you know, what I thought might have happened or whatever, you know.
Right. The guy that you said was running down the street, do you now think it was or was not Ross?
I thought it was Ross. I still think it was Ross. I mean, we were kind of, you know, 30 feet away. I saw someone running east, and all I saw was the back, and maybe it was the same color shirt that he was wearing or whatever. And what was Ross wearing even?
I was going to ask you. I mean, I know, but I'm just saying, I want to see if you know.
Huh. I'm gonna.
You don't have to be
Yeah, I don't-
specific with color, but can you say like what the top was?
You know
what
what?
the bottom was?
I think it was a dark shirt. I think it was a dark shirt. I mean, we hung out all night. I don't remember if it's. He's wearing jeans. His jeans were baggy as hell. I was making fun of him over his jeans. He was wearing like 38s, and he should be in like a 35 or something. Like his jeans were ridiculous. He was in blue jeans and runners and sneakers, and I want to say a black shirt, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
But I know his jeans were baggy as hell, you know, and the runners.